Bill Belichick, the executive, has let down Bill Belichick, the coach. He lets his friends get too close. He trusts them too much. He puts too much on their plate. And he decides that I'm going to rather keep it in my family circle of like 5 or 6 versus going out and just getting the best coaches. Bill O'Brien could have been that guy. Who knows what would have happened? But you might have had a shot at bringing Bill O'Brien in.
Nick, one thing on that, now that you bring it up, I know the way Bill operates, and this is part of the reason why he's gotten in a lot of trouble with losing his coaches and coaching staff, because he doesn't communicate, especially during the football season. There's no talk about after the season what we're going to do later. I would caution, and this is probably going to set you off, but I would caution Bill, he needs to be proactive on the Billy O'Brien front, because really that's the only option that they have. That's the most ready option. I think that he has not told me this, and I'm not telling you anything that I mention here. I have not been told. I know people involved in the situation, and this is me reading the tea leaves. Number one, Bill O'Brien has not heard from the Patriots. Okay. Number two, I think he would like to come back here. And number three, I think O'Brien's going to have suitors. And the longer you wait, look, McDaniels could be interested in bringing in a guy that he trusts more to run his offense so he can be more of a CEO coach after this season. It wouldn't be a shock if that's one of the adjustments he makes after his first season. Mike Vrabel, there's a lot of changes going on in Tennessee right now. And while I think their offense has been fine, John Robinson just got fired as the GM, which is shocking. So it wouldn't shock me if there are more changes. Mike Vrabel worked for Billy O'Brien in Houston, and maybe Billy O'Brien really likes, his offensive mind and stuff like that, along with, there might be college options for O'Brien, but I think he wants to get back in the NFL. I think he would prefer to come home. Bill just better not do his normal stuff where he sits on his hands and he just worries about the team. You just had a mini bye. There's no reason not to call Billy O'Brien and start to feel him out about this and to see what's going on. So, I probably upset you a lot right there, but I figured I'd pass that on.
I know we're ranting a little bit, but who cares? It's needed. And I think every Patriots fan watching that game on Thursday night felt it. Enough is enough, man. We've talked about it, right? I'm tired of we gave Belichick the benefit of the doubt. We all said, hey, last year, 10 wins, even though it ended ugly. They got to the playoffs. That was a step forward. Let's give them this offseason so they can take another step forward and figure out what they could have done better last year, et cetera, et cetera. And, hey, look, yes, this plan looks like it's a disaster, but maybe Belichick knows more than we do. Maybe there's something going on behind the scenes that it won't be that bad. Maybe Belichick is going to have, more of the offense under his umbrella. Maybe he's going to call some of the plays, yada, yada, yada. We gave him the benefit of the doubt because of the resume and because what he has done. And he deserved the benefit of the doubt. But now, unequivocally, this has been a disaster. And the guy who made the decisions is Bill Belichick. Simple. That's it. Full stop. It's on him. If this worked out and Matt Patricia was all of a sudden an offensive savant and the offensive line was blocking like the greatest offensive line we've ever seen, and Joe Judge was doing cartwheels on the sidelines, talking to Mac Jones, and everybody was hugging and slapping asses, and they were whatever they'd be, 10-2 or 9-3 or 8-4, then Greg and I would have said, hey, look, Belichick got us. Belichick, we gave him the benefit of the doubt. He's proven it. He had an idea. It seemed like it was a disaster, but it's actually worked out. He would have gotten credit if this worked out. It has not worked out. And so the guy who deserves all the credit when it works out deserves all of the criticism when it's a disaster. And that's what's happening. And we'll get into some other stuff here before we wrap it up. But I'm telling you, this week, they're going to play Arizona. Arizona is one of the worst defenses in football, okay? They're going to play the Raiders after that. The Raiders played better in the front seven last week with Jerry Tillery and Chandler Jones. Jones had his best game of the season. He finally woke up after being invisible for the entire year. But these are two defenses that are susceptible. And what I can see happen is this offense looks better over the next 2 weeks. And some people are going to go, see, everybody was freaking out too much after the Bills game. No. Do not judge and evaluate this offense when they play mediocre to bad defenses. Judge this offense when they play good defenses, when they play teams that they're battling, to beat in the division, et cetera, et cetera. That's how you judge them. If they beat up on a bad Arizona defense, it's just like what they did against Detroit. They beat up on a bad Lions defense back then. So let's not overplay the hand. This offensive situation's bad. Greg's right. If Bill O'Brien wants to come back home, Belichick has to be on the phone with him already. You got to bring him back. You got to bring somebody back that has a history and a resume of themselves. They know how to run an offense, because if you go into year 2 with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, I'm done. I don't even know if I'll do this podcast. If they come back with those two guys, Mac Jones is going to start looking like those bad free throw shooters who try left-handed. He's going to start throwing the football left-handed at a certain point because he's going to run out of options. You screwed up, Bill. And the best of the best, whether you're a programmer in radio or you're a head coach or you're a manager at Starbucks or you run a Fortune 500 company, the best of the best at the top of the hill, they know when they screw up and they reset and they correct it. Bill, it's your time this offseason to correct all of this shit. Because if you don't, again, if I'm RKK, out the door.